And another figure that we need to cover because what he did had a profound effect on our lives as far as, recreation goes. So Matthew,
and still kind of has an effect on me
it
to
kind
this.
of still does, yeah. Um, Yu-Gi-Oh creator Kazuo Takahashi found deceased at age 60, floating off of the Japan coast. This is an article from Bounding into Comics, and just I guess he was vacationing in Okinawa and he was snorkeling, and then something happened to him because he had been renting a car, and the car, because he died, so then the car rental agency wasn't able to get a hold of him, because hey, he had their car, so they contacted police, and then they found him floating, out kind of, the ocean, and yeah, that's a real, and kind of similar to how the creator of Kureon Shinchan, he had gone hiking and then he slipped and fell, and he passed away. But in this case, Kazuki Takahashi, real name Kazuo Takahashi.
Yeah, he had a pen name.
Yeah, that was his pen name. Found dead around 10:30 a.m. on July 6th. And so they said that he was probably dead 1 to 2 days prior to his body being found. So just about, the legacy that, you know, Takahashi left, because this created a not just a Japanese phenomenon, but a worldwide phenomenon. Comparable to how Pokemon was, comparable to how other card games like Magic the Gathering, and
It
I
was
think
on a similar. Yeah, it's on a similar.
and the card game is recognized as having produced the most cards and being sold by Guinness World Records.
Well, yeah, because like Pokemon, the card game was a very specific thing, and you really had a lot more other stuff with regards to Pokemon, but with regards to like merchandise and the video games, the anime, the various manga connected to it, all of that. But Yu-Gi-Oh, the core thing was the card games. Oh, speaking of which, look what I got today.
Oh wow. Ghosts from the Past. Second Haunting. So,
So
is
for
that like
those
a
of you who
reprint?
don't, so what?
Is that a reprint?
I think so. So I haven't mentioned it on this I haven't mentioned it on this channel, but I've been kind of getting back into it. And one of the things is I've been building a deck, but here in the Central Valley, there's not a whole lot in terms of game collecting for specifically what I want to get, which was the old, the old style decks. And I was actually gonna see if I couldn't buy something online because I wanted either a Kaiba deck or a Yugi deck, something that was kind of connected to them. But I wasn't having. I was having problems finding that stuff around here. There's no Blue Eyes. There's no Black. Well, in the Japanese, it was called Black Magician. I'm pretty sure that the censors.
Yeah, Dark Magician.
Oh yeah, are we gonna talk about how heavily censored?
Well, you gotta admit some of the cards are a bit risque too. Some of that stuff was a bit risque. I mean,
but one has to remember is that Japan, there's just stuff like violence and nudity is not considered inappropriate for younger kids.
Well, they've been cracking down on that within the last 20 years or so.
So since the first time we left.
Yeah, when we went to Japan, I mean, because I think the one was, remember the last Sailor Moon episode that aired, and Mom watched it first, and she was like, "You guys ain't watching this," because she had.
We did watch. She did let us watch.
Yeah, she did let us watch it.
she gave a very big parental warning.
Yeah, she did.
She was straight up nude.
Yeah, that's the thing, and well,
Which
because
was
I
not
heard how
that was not in the manga. That was specifically for the Sailor Moon anime. Which
yeah, so
the Sailor Moon anime, it's based off of the manga, but there's just a whole lot of differences.
well,
Which is
okay,
why I like
the
Sailor Moon
original
Crystal.
anime.
Which is why I like Sailor Moon Crystal, the new Sailor Moon that just came. That's
Well,
it's being produced. That's
well,
why I like
that's
that.
well. See, here's the thing, because the original Sailor Moon anime, the way it was going, at first it started off as a shoujo anime because that's what it was geared towards. But I think the producers of the anime at that time saw that it was steadily gaining a male audience and a kind of an older male audience. So then they kind of started producing the anime to make it more geared towards that demographic. And I think Naoko Takeuchi didn't like the direction that it went. And I don't blame her because that's not what she intended it to be. So I
Well,
think,
that's
yeah,
part of the problem with signing away like a certain amount of rights as the creator for your adaptation. I'm gonna, we personally have talked about this. I've written a novel and I started writing a second novel, which I'm probably gonna go back to working on it, but I'm gonna tell you right now, if my novel ever made it big enough to get an adaptation, I would make sure that I had a huge amount of creative control when it came to what was in there and what was not, because I would want to make sure that my adaptation was not ruined
well,
by some,
well, I thought about writing, because I've had some ideas for some novels, and I think I've shared with you. It was kind of like a fantasy type novel, but I probably wouldn't even sign it for a adaptation because I don't want Holly Weird to butcher it,
I
especially.
would say you can adapt it, but there's certain things that are not going to be that cannot be compromised. And if you don't like that, it's like I'm sure that if there was enough of a demand and someone wanted it bad enough, they would give in. And I would straight up say, hey, that the integrity of this adaptation is more important than any type of money that could possibly be made. And if you're not willing to accept those terms, then you don't deserve to adapt my vision. I would have caps on who could be cast, what direction they could do, what all. It's like, what scenes could be cut, what scenes couldn't be cut, what if you can add new characters, if you can't add new characters. I would specifically have all that written out in the contract, and I would want to be in charge of, like, I would want to be part of the production. I would want to be on set for certain scenes. Like, I would just be like, these are my demands, take it or leave it, pure and simple. And if you don't like it, I'll, someone else. It's like it's like at that point it wouldn't be about the money. It would be about the integrity of my work.
Yeah, exactly. And I think although
Because
Takahashi, I think it didn't because you could tell that I think there was a lot of things like I remember I would watch. Sometimes I would get home from school early enough that I could actually watch the anime like when we were in Japan, so I could watch like the new episodes and stuff. And I could see how there was a lot of episodes that would delve from the actual the manga because you remember reading the manga, right?
I at one point had the whole collection, but when we moved back stateside, we couldn't take everything. So
Mm-hmm.
my complete set of the manga was a casualty. The only manga that I had a complete set of, and it had to go. It was a victim of our move back to Japan.
Victim, victim of the times.
Yeah, and something else. I watched one of those. one of the Yu-Gi-Oh commentary channels that talked about it, and he talked about how at the end of Yu-Gi-Oh, Takahashi wrote a message about how he's ending Yu-Gi-Oh. So it's when I reread that, I was just like, you know what? There was a finality to it, and as far as I'm concerned, that's it. The manga is it.
Right.
It's because that was his original canon. Any other adaptations were done by other people.
Right. Exactly.
His
They'll credit him.
You could call it my head canon. You could call it whatever you want. But as far as I'm concerned, the original Yu-Gi-Oh manga was it. No dual monsters, because dual monsters had.
Yeah, you can tell how it's getting ridiculous because I haven't seen the other adaptions, but I might have seen like clips of it and
I've
stuff
seen
like
snippets here and there. It's like, yeah, you have Yu-Gi-Oh GX, you have Yu-Gi-Oh 5G.
the one I found hilarious was the one where they're dueling on motorcycles.
Oh yeah, speed dueling is what it's called, I think.
I mean, just when you thought things couldn't get, more. And I remember, I think they made some of those wrist. I don't remember what they called
dual
them.
discs. They're called dual
Yeah,
discs.
the dual discs.
Have you seen what those things go for nowadays? I don't think they manufacture them anymore. They go for like hundreds of dollars.
Only hundreds of dollars?
Oh, well, you know how things are. Average, they go for hundreds of dollars.
Well, yeah, I'm not, and that, but I think you cannot actually. I don't think you can actually do a tournament legal duel with them.
No,
Can
yeah,
you?
no, you can't. You can't.
Yeah, so you have to play it a specific way. Um, if you're
you have to have the map. There's five monster zones, 5 spell trap zones, 1 field zone, the extra deck for the fusion and special summon monsters, and then you've got the graveyard and the banishment zone. You have to do it with that format. Which that's something else I'd like to point out is that I've been dueling with Master Duels. It's on my phone, which is pretty fun. When Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links came out about 7 years ago, I started playing that, but then which they had the original characters, but then once they started introducing the GX, I kind of checked out.
So I never actually got into playing.
So here's an interesting thing, because Yugi and Kaiba both had very decks not built around their top cards, but built around their but just with a specific strategy in mind. I didn't realize that you can actually, even with the current 60 card limit, create a Dark Magician or a Blue Eyes specifically themed deck, all with monsters and spell and trap cards specifically geared towards those, in support of those monsters.
Yeah, I think
only built off of that.
To this day, the Blue Eyes White Dragon is my favorite of the monsters. And I remember when we used to live in Japan, and I would like go to the convenience stores and I would buy the Yu-Gi-Oh packs. Like, remember when Mom would take us to like Daiei and stuff, and we, whenever we had like allowance day and something, and we'd use that on buying Pokemon packs.
Yep.
And then Yu-Gi-Oh started getting really big when I was in middle school. And, after school, I'd like go hang out at a friend's house and stuff, and we'd go over all the Yu-Gi-Oh cards that they had, and then I'd try to, buy packs at the convenience stores and stuff too. And I'm not sure if they sell convenience stores are selling Yu-Gi-Oh cards at, you know, more likely you have to go to, you have to go to some of the bigger, more department store type places. But I remember that, I was able to find, and that there used to be, like they would talk about how there was a strategy for trying to find a pack that had a rare card or something, because not all packs, you buy a 5-pack for 150 yen, but not all, it wasn't guaranteed to have a rare card. Like, if you remember, when we would buy the Pokemon cards, a rare card was always guaranteed, whether it was a normal rare card or a shiny rare card. And of course, that's before you've got like 15 different types of rare cards in Pokemon now. And one of the cards I was able to find was a Blue Eyes White Dragon. And it was actually like, it wasn't so much a foil as much as it was kind of a rare type foil too. So that was, yeah, fun times.
Something that I consider rather ironic. Usually light and dark, usually in most adaptations of media just across the board, whether it's like ancient myths or whether it's like the modern day adaptations, the light is considered the good guys and the dark is considered the bad guys. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's ironically switched, because Yami Yugi, which literally translates to Dark Yugi, is the protagonist, and he uses the dark or black magician, depending on what the translation, as his main card. Whereas Seto Kaiba, who is who at times he was a straight up bad antagonist. But he uses the blue eyes, which in the game is a light card. So it's the dynamics are switched in that regard. Which, to be fair, if you read the manga, Yugi had a dark sense of humor.
Yes.
In the early episodes.
Yami Yugi had a very dark sense of humor.
Yeah, it wasn't until later that he started to kind of straighten out. And I think part of that was because his friends and Yugi Muto were influencing him in that regard.
So anyway, to kind of close out about Kazuo Takahashi, Konami and their official statement: we are shocked and saddened to hear the sudden passing of Kazuo Takahashi. We are deeply grateful for the wonderful Yu-Gi-Oh universe that he has created. Our thoughts are with his friends and family at this difficult time. Together with his countless fans, we pledge to carry on the Yu-Gi-Oh legacy with all the love and care it deserves. And I think that's a pretty fitting statement for Konami to put out, because, I think without this game, Konami...
That's one of their cash cows.
Yes, definitely. Because without Yu-Gi-Oh, Konami would probably not be where they're at in terms of influence within the gaming community or, the culture community. I don't know if, because I don't really hear about much successful games outside of Japan. I mean, obviously you got, I don't know if you remember the game Metal Gear Solid. I think when we used to live in Japan, I think one of our neighbors had the game, and I think you and I would try to play it. It was kind of like...
I don't think I was ever interested in playing Metal Gear Solid. It was just...
Well, and then it's like spawned, I don't know, a franchise. Kind of surprised they haven't made a movie yet, but anyway, but...
I heard one might be in the works.
So, but I know the one of the other games that it's really big in Japan. You can't play it outside of Japan because of regional restrictions. They do have a really big Mahjong game that's in Japan. So I know that's really big.
Which funny enough is actually a Chinese game.
Yeah, so actually there's variations to Mahjong. There's Chinese Mahjong.
So funny thing, whenever I hear Mahjong, I think about a line in the original Kung Fu Panda where Po's father, aka Jack Black's big panda, who's a goose, tells him, so you are going to take over the restaurant, as I did from my father, who got it from his father, who won it from a friend in the game of Mahjong. Yeah, so a geese inherited it from a geese who inherited from a geese who won it from a pig. It's like that's part of what made the Kung Fu Panda franchise really good, is their sense of humor. But Jack Black has enough of a sense of humor to where he can often make stuff like that work.
So yeah, Mahjong. I know there's a Chinese variation, there's a South Korean variation, and then there's the Japanese variation, which
there's an episode of what's it called, of Midnight Diner that's themed around Mahjong.
And then there's like the American variation, kind of works for some reason. It works similar to like kind of like a solitaire type thing, and basically you're just
that's understandable, considering that's how we're more familiar with solitaire than we are about Mahjong.
Now I have last year I used to go to this Mahjong club, and maybe sometime I might try to do it again, but it was
how much money did you lose?
No, they don't bet. You just pay an entry fee. And then so that supports that club because they sell snacks, they buy snacks and all that stuff too. So that they don't gamble. Only in Japan and China and all that. Now, if you did that here, you get in trouble. So they don't do that. But I actually won the last time I was there. I think I'd gone there like 4 times, and I won what they usually do is they run like a tournament. So you play a few rounds, and then depend on how much points you scored in each round determines if you're going to play for the championship round or if you're going to play for, the next level down.
I think the World Series of Poker works like that.
Oh, okay.
I think. I'm not certain.
So, anyway, so that's, I'd love to play with people and stuff, but I think just life is a bit too busy. And I know that, they normally run it on the
there's Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments at this one gaming store in Hanford, and I've wanted to go, but like I said, when I bought my first number of packs, I realized these are not very powerful cards. I need something more than that. So hopefully I can
you'll get something out of that.
Hopefully I can field a more competitive deck. Well, here's the thing. This thing cost me $20.
How many packs are in there?
There are, each box contains 4 5-card packs for a total of 20 ultra rare. So that's why this is so expensive. It's all ultra rare cards.
So how many cards are in there?
20.
20, and they're all ultra rare cards?
Yeah, so I basically spent $1 a card.
Yeah, that's like a premium. Remember the premium packs in Japan?
Yeah.
I still got some. Still got some unopened ones. It's like I'm a try and Just imagine if we kind of got this into being kind of a trading cards. We could have a trading card session. Interacting with people. There's a sports card shop by my house, and on Wednesdays and Saturdays, they host kind of like it's kind of a get-togethers of other card collectors and people in the area who sell their own cards and stuff. So you'll see all these
So it's
people.
like a little card swap meet.
Yeah, exactly. And then last time I was in there, I was passing through and I see this one guy. He's got his phone, on a little stand, and he's actually live streaming, opening up all these cards, all these. Uh, that particular card shop is geared more towards sports and stuff, so they have a lot of sports. They do sell some Pokemon cards. They don't sell. I have not seen them sell Yu-Gi-Oh. The one thing I know is that baseball cards. They got oversaturated in like the late 80s and the 90s. So
oh yeah, I remember. I never was into buying them, but I remember getting them as gifts.
Right.
And like sometimes getting them in the boxes. So I kept those cards just because my thought was, well, they might be valuable someday, but
no,
yeah,
but those particular cards, from the late 80s to the 90s, those particular decks, they're like somewhere between 700 and 800 cards per set. And because you gotta have all the MLB players,
Yu-Gi-Oh is Yu-Gi-Oh, I think as it stands right now, has over 10,000 cards. 10,000 different cards. Like so, Pokemon right now is like, I think they're at 800 Pokemon right now.
Wow, only 800?
Only 800. They're not even at the 1,000 mark yet.
See, I do have some completed Yu-Gi-Oh! What did they call those?
Packs?
Not starter. Expansion packs. I've completed some of those. And then I've completed some of the... Oh, booster packs. That's what they were called. Booster packs. I've completed some Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster packs, Japanese booster packs, and I've also completed some Pokemon booster packs. I'd be kind of curious to see how much those are worth, so maybe if I can, I'll have to make a trip up there sometime.
I'm gonna be honest. Some like my I still have my Pokemon collection somewhere.
But here's the thing.
I'm not that collection. I'm gonna die with that collection.
Here's my
descendants, or I hope I eventually have descendants. If not, then my heirs, they could do whatever they want with it. But I'm gonna keep. It's like some things to me are just so sentimental. I'm gonna die in possession of that. After that,
well, here's the sad thing. Here's the sad thing about all those baseball packs from the 80s and 90s, is that your Pokemon collections are probably worth more than a few of those sets combined. Because
like you said, they got oversaturated.
Right, it got oversaturated. It's like some of those sets. A set of like 800 cards is worth like $5.
$5?
$5.
800 cards for $5?
$5.
Well, like you said, they were oversaturated. They probably had like millions of those cards printed off.
Yeah. Anyway. So, rest in peace, Kazuo Takahashi, and thank you for giving us Yu-Gi-Oh! That was your magnum opus. So, yeah.